welcome everybody to 1 hour of miniature goodness, and tonight we have the Bridge Trolls Toll. Say that fast. Bridge Trolls Toll. This is from Reapermini from their Bones 5 Kickstarter. I have already primed the bridge in black, but I'll say hello to people in chat before I start. Scorpius up there, I saw Rod, Michelle's there of course. Ty's in chat. Tal, hello Tal. Long stripy scarf, hello. Gareth, Star Wars man's in the house, hello Gareth. Mechanica Frog. Now I want to give a shout out to Mechanica Frog, and I hope it's the same guy, but he's got a YouTube channel which is very good. It's very good. So I want to give a shout out to him, to check out his YouTube channel. He's also on Twitter as well. Very good show, well worth checking out. Okay, it is you, isn't it? I thought it was. There's no one else with frog at the end of their name. Anyway, today I am doing a little gaming board. So it's going to be a mixed match of things. Like I say, I've already painted these little things here. But what I want to do is get on with a little bit of the XPS foam just to show you the board I'm doing. Now we've got the little trolls. Let me just show you these because they're absolutely adorable. I don't know if you can see it with this light. It's the black is making it too dark now. Great stuff. It's either all or nothing with my exposure. It's either too dark or... Let me see if I turn it up. No, that's a bit better. There's a little tiny little baby troll in there. Hello, see him? Baby troll. Hello. I fell in love with him when I saw him. Absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, it's the black. I've just put the what you call it, the exposure back up. I'll put it back down now so you can see my board. There you go. Thank you, Bull Gem, for doing the gift subs. It's very kind of you once again. Okay, let me make a start on this gaming board. Now, we can go straight into painting the bridge. You saw me paint a bridge the other day, so I can show you a little bit of the board. And what we're using today is we're using XPS foam. Now, this foam is from a set from Army Painter. And you get this little wire cutter and all sorts of goodies with it. And I've been making gaming boards with these, with this foam. Now the boards I use are 12 inches by 12 inches. They're MDF board and they're 6mm thick, which means they're not going to warp, and they're really nice for using as gaming boards. So let me make a start. I'll move these out of the way. Now I'll give you an idea of what I'm doing. We're going to make a river on the gaming board with a little bridge, of course, and we'll have a few trees dotted around. But what we need to do is mark out where we're going to put everything on the board first. So the bridge is going to be roughly to the top end of the board. I'm just going to mark out where I want the river to go. So we'll just make it go wee. Very simple. Well, the river doesn't actually go wee, that's me going wee, but... And the same here, if I can get round. This is going to be quite awkward because I've got to try to do it all on camera for you to see. Normally I wouldn't be worried about the camera. And of course we're just going to follow this mark across and take the river out like so. So that's our first point of call. Now what we can do, we can move this and then we can just give that a straight edge across. And we just get straight edge. That's Mikey's straight edge. Michelle, I need your drawing skills. Okay, so that's our one side of the river. And what we do then is we take this awesome little machine, which is battery operated. Let's go back a bit more so you can see what I'm doing. And hopefully, will it fit there? We'll have to do it in a couple of pieces. It's got the little batteries in there. You just press that down and that heats up the wire. And that just cuts through this foam like cheese. And it's awesome fun to use. And you just go along. And you cut out all the shapes you want. Now I've lost the rest of the wires, so I've got to be careful I don't snap this wire tonight. And no my luck, because I'll be on a live show, I'll end up snapping the wire. So I'm just following the rough guide around, and we'll take it out here. Like so. Now save all your bits of foam for later use. You can use it for all sorts of stuff. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to angle this, and we're going to make carry on with our riverbed. Now this is for the sides of the riverbed. Like so. So we got that. That'll fit just there perfectly. And then our bridge will just plonk in the middle there. That'll give us a little bit of height for the bridge as well. But I'm going to make it a 2-layer. So what we need to do now is we move on to the other side of the bridge and do the other side, and then we can stick those 2 pieces on. So we do exactly the same on the other side. What we're trying to do here is make sure we got the right angles. So we're working on here, like so. That's where my bridge is going, and we can just mark it off there. And we want to, I want to have this little the troll's nest. I want that to have that in the water, just on the water's edge. So I want to work my river around this, so it goes down and then around. So that'll fit in snugly in the riverbank. And what we can do, we can have all reeds coming up along the riverbed. I think that'll look absolutely gorgeous. And again, we want to go from here, and we just wiggle that across up the top. Okay, so once again, we just mark out. We go across the line I've just added on here. I don't know if you can see it. No, you can't. There's a blue mark where I've actually added. Have I got a hype train going again? Level 3 already? Oh my goodness me. Okay, so once again, we're going to follow this down with our wire cutter. It's a hot wire cutter, as it's called. And if you haven't got a hot wire cutter, you're missing out on having tons and tons and tons of fun. Because you know when you get all those crappy boxes from Amazon, and you know you get all that packing material from all your boxes from the tellies and your computer parts, and you get all that polystyrene, and it comes in all the boxes. You can actually use all the polystyrene with these wire cutters, and you can make your own hills and rivers and all sorts of things. So you just keep collecting all your polystyrene, and then you can do all these amazing things. It's just great fun. So I'm just going around the blue line that I've added. This is where the troll's little nest is going to be, because of course they're going to be river trolls. There we are. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, so let me get these out of the way. So that's at one side of the river. That's the other side of the river. Move this back. And then of course we'll have this one in the middle, just there, so the bridge is going across the middle. But what we need to do, I need to raise this one more. I want that on another level. So we'll do some extras there. Our little troll's nest will be in here. So that'll be just inside the river, just there. And we'll have all reeds popping up around there. That'll look nice. What we're going to do now as well is we're going to have a fork in the river just here. So there's like a little island going in the middle. So we'll get that one cut out. Again, we just want, we don't even have to mark this, we can just go around and just add a little, just take little chunks off the sides. And same here. very important with these wire cutters is to make sure you have your finger pressed down and it is boiling hot, because the way you snap the wire, there's a tiny little wire there, you can just see it. The way you snap that is by trying to go through the polystyrene without letting the without getting it to the right temperature. So you've got to keep your little finger on. You sometimes see a little bit of smoke coming off the edge of there. See the smoke? That means it's hot enough. And we could just go across and cut this to size. Again, we'll do a bit more work on it just to make it a bit more funky looking. And that can be a little middle island for our trolls. Okay, so we've got a lovely little riverbed now, and it's got a fork in one side. It looks great already. So now what we're going to do now, I'm going to raise this up. I'm actually going to add a few more pieces here and there, and then that'll be the actual base of our miniature, and then we can work off that. It is absolutely awesome, Tal. It's great fun. It's how I make all my gaming boards, because I mean I use air drying clay for a lot of things, but for the gaming boards, because this is so light and durable, it means I can post it to everybody, and I know it's going to arrive like in one piece. Okay, so those little pieces we've just cut off here, what I can do now is I can use these to start raising up that bridge. I'm just going to cut through this bit here. Excuse me a second while I cut through this. Now you can use craft knives to cut through these boards very well. It's not an issue. The craft knives. Okay, so again I want that in half. Let me just move my little drinky. I was trying to make more room in my workshop today. It is so tiny, and I tried to get as much done as possible in this one little room. So you'll have to excuse me if I'm moving things around and jumping from one section to the other. As you can see, craft knife just cuts through it lovely. Now what I need is I just want to raise that bridge up a little bit more, but I just need to get the right scale on each side and then sculpt it out. Okay. Okay. Okay, one there, one there. This is just to give me a reference guide of where the bridge is actually on this. These pieces of, hang on, we can work our way around. And once again, I can just start cutting this down. I just take it a little bit over the edge, and I can work my way around. Same on this side. Like I said, this is the very basic what I'm showing you today. Once we get this all finished up, it will look absolutely amazing. So this is just the groundwork for where we are going, because all this will be textured with sand and gravel. We'll be adding water effects to the base. And we'll have a proper river flowing through it. Hello, Philippe. Okay, so again, we're just taking off a little bit of the I just thought showing you a gaming board would be a little bit different tonight, especially because Reaper have made all these fantastic diorama sets, as I call it, and they are just going to be perfect for, you know, doing what I'm doing. It just works out really well. I just want a bit of height there. Okay, let's get these a little bit angled off now. So what we're doing, we're working around, we're just giving it, we're not giving it a straight edge. We don't want that straight edge. It looks too straight. Don't laugh when I'm doing it, Mikey. There you go. See, just gives it a rough edge, which works a bit more better for what we want. A little bit of a rough edge. Just angling it about 45 degrees and going around. Same on this side. Okay. So that's roughly going to be our two sides of the bridge. Now once this has all been glued, I shall be adding little steps, a little bit more to this. So we'll have the bridge going down and around a little bit more. Let me see if I can get the white not glaring so much. Let me see if I can take the exposure down for you guys a little bit more. There we are. Is that better? See that better? Okay, so this is it so far. So what we can do now, I'll just give you an idea of where we're going. Now I want to add some trees and some tree stumps. Now I've got these fantastic trees that I got from Mantic Games. I got quite a few of these, so I can dot them around and glue them onto the base. But again, I want them to be on little hills. So just to get a little idea of how big we want our hills, all I need to do is maybe have one here. And we can just work out roughly. I'm trying to keep everything. So what I like to have with my gaming boards, I like to keep it all in inches, which means like this little island, you can fit a few minis on there. If I have a little hill here with a tree on, there's enough room around it that a 1-inch based miniature can explore that area. So I try to keep it as gaming as possible, for, you know, as best as I can, so you can use it for gaming. There's no point having a diorama or a big gaming board if you can't play with your minis on it, you know. So once again, I've got a little circle on there. I'm just going to follow that round. I'm just going to angle it around there. I'll take that piece off, and again we'll work our way around. And taking that little bit off there, and once again just following the line around at a 45-degree angle. And the reason why you want that angle is so you've got that nice bevel there, and then when you glue this to the actual base like so, it blends in much nicer with the surrounding area. So that'll be like so, and then we can have a tree that'll be glued onto there. So we'll have the tree on there. So we've got one tree there. I think I'll probably have a little tree stump this side, little tree stump on this side here. So we'll have the tree stump there. We'll have one more tree in this corner here, so I'll do the same up here. All we do is we just take a little angle. I've got my little pen just to give me a rough idea of how big that place is, and I just roughly give a squiggle on my polystyrene, and then I can cut that out to size. Oh, who's got bacon and eggs? Mmm. So once again, I'm just taking out the polystyrene. I'm giving it an angle. I'm going all the way around and out the edge there. And that one can go in the corner just there. And this one will have another tree on it. So we've got one tree there, one tree just here. Our troll will be swimming down the waterway here. And of course, that will be the basis of our gaming board. So as you can see, very, very simple. But once we've added all the gravel, glued this all into place, it will absolutely come to life. So what I'm going to do now is, because you've seen all this bit, we can start actually painting the miniatures now, because I just wanted to show you the game board, and that's how fast and easy it is to start off a little gaming board. But now we can actually move on and start painting the bridge and the troll. But I hope you like this, because we'll be doing a lot more of these in the future. This is just your very basic starter to what I want to show you. It's a 1 inch by 1 inch board, knife, but I always buy 12 by 12. And what I'll do is I shall get this board all prepped up for the Monday Reaper show. And what we'll do on Monday is I will show you how to make the riverbed, and we'll get that all sorted and painted. But what I'll do now is we'll get the troll painted up. We'll paint the troll. Oh, and by the way, to glue everything together, what I was using, let me get the exposure back. No, the white's gone. There you go. So to glue the XPS foam, we just use PVA glue. Very, very simple. But it's absolutely awesome fun. If you've never tried the hot wire cutter, and you have lots and lots of polystyrene in your house from all your boxes, it's worth getting one just to have a little go and try making your own little bits and bobs. Okay, what I wanted to show you today, if we had time, and we have, is I wanted to get the goats done, but I also wanted to show you how to paint the troll. So that'll be a nice, quick, easy paint. Now, goats. Let's get the goats done. Let's get some focus. Now, what I've done with the goats, I've painted them dragon white to begin with. But what we're going to do now is give them a quick coat of skeleton bone. While that skeleton bone is drying, we'll fly on into the troll. Okay, so let's get some brushes. I'm all over the shop tonight. There we go. So we've got baby troll. Baby troll? No, baby goat. He's not a troll, he's a goat. No. So baby goat, let's get some focus in for the goat. This is the tiny weeny one. There you go. And you can see all the ink wash all over my fingernails, so excuse my fingernails. Okay, let's get this done. All we're doing is we're covering the whole goat in that skeleton. This is the new one. This is the skeleton bone. If they stopped doing the other bone color they had, so they only do the skeleton bone now, which is roughly the same. So we're just going over the little goaty woaty, trying to keep my fingers on it. You can see how tiny it is by my stodgy little fingers trying to grab hold of him. So we just get that beautiful color all over. These are super, super easy to paint. As long as you've got that darker undercoat, you'll be fine. Or depending on what colour you're going to do your goats, of course. I am doing my goats white because I used to have white goats on the farm when I grew up. So we'll have Jill the goat. Absolutely roasting in my room tonight, by the way. Now the reason why we've got that bright white undercoat is because it helps for it's just my primer coat. It helps with the colour being added because they're a light. We're not using a dark colour because I want a white effect for my goats. I would not even think about using my brown or blacks as a primer coat. We use a white, and then we can add this coat, and the paint will work a lot better. If you used a dark undercoat, you'd be struggling to get a nice nice effect to the shading on the goat. It'd be too dark. You'd have to be either that, or you'd have to put lots and lots of coats of white, which is pointless when you can do it once by just doing it like this. So we got I think it's dragon white, or actually no, I used solid white. Solid white is what I used for the primer coat on these little goatees. So we've got solid white, and then we've got the skeleton bone, and all we do is we go back over our little goats with a nice little dry brush of white, leaving that skeleton bone as our shadows. So we got daddy goat, mummy goat, and baby goat. Okay, so they've got their little skeleton bone on. I shall wash my brush, and we go straight into the troll. The troll is a water troll, so I'm going to do them in dragon green, and then I've got some cat's eye green, and we'll just fly through this bad boy as well. This is just going to be super fast and quick and awesome. Let me get some focus for you guys. Yeah, the black isn't good in this light, is it? Let me see if I can get some more exposure on this one. There we go. And then a bit more focus. There you go. Okay, let's get some paint on the palette. We're going for dragon green. And I've lost my pokey stick. I found my pokey stick. My pokey stick. So we've got the pokey stick. Now all you need to do for your troll, the troll hasn't got, the troll is practically bare. Okay, so I'll give you a little pointers. He's going to be dark green, dry brush dark green. Then he's going to have the light green on top. There is nothing on this troll really, so it's a very, very simple two-tone paint, ink wash, and we're giving some black claws, and he'll look great when he's finished. Thank you for the cheer, Bull GM. That noise, by the way, if you've not been on my show before, that's my Warthog paint mixer. So what we got on my palette, we've trying to get this out. One more second, give it another little poke. So we got cat's eye green and dragon green, a bit more. Give it a squiggle. There you go. Just a little bit more. And my tissues. Move my little goats out the way. My tissues, we use a nice big brush. You all know I like using the big brush for my dry brushing. And we'll get the old troll. And what we're going to do is we're going to load up that brush with that dragon green. Get it on that tissue there. Yeah. And then we're just going to get him on to our thing. Here we go, just all the way. We want it even, but we want a nice thick layer going all over the black. And we're using that black to our advantage. All over the face. While the paint is still wet on this miniature, I can blend in the green that we're doing. But what I'm making sure I'm doing is covering the whole of the troll in a nice even layer of paint, leaving that black in all the recesses. And because I'm doing it at a nice fast speed, I can work with the cat's eye green at the same time, and we can start building up colours. So now I'm going into that cat's eye green, adding it to the dark green, and then we can start going around and start building up those colours and give it a nice like watery mouldy river effect. So what's going to happen is just the highest areas will start getting highlighted by me adding this green, and we just keep on building it up and building it up. Getting back into that green there. And I want it lighter than this, so I'm actually going to get some white. I'm going to get some of that solid white onto my palette, and I'm going to make that green even brighter. We just keep on going around with that green on all the highest areas, leaving the darkest green in the deepest areas, and we just work our way around. And I'll quickly add that white like I said I was going to. There we go. Now we can start making it a little bit nice. So I'm just going to add some more of that green here and a tiny bit of that white, and then we're just going to make that even lighter. Now we can start going over the highest area. Now I'm going to go much more delicate, and we can just start adding over the highest areas. There we go. Make sure you get the top of the ears, top of the head, nose. Top of the little toesies there. Top of his bum. And you see he's got that hair going along the back of him there. What we can do, we can go extra light there. Then we can just go across the top of the hair, and that'll just bring out the hair a little bit more on his back, and keep that going to the front of the face. Okay. Hello, cold air. Right, okay dokie then. So I'm going to let this dry a little bit now, but as you can see, he's got lots of different tones already just by using those two greens. He's got nice highlighting on the heads and the highest areas, nice and dark at the bottom like we want. A very, very simple and easy paint to do. What we can do is we'll give him a little bit of a dark ink wash. We can get his eyes and his mouth painted in, but super simple and easy. Now while I've got that white out, we'll get those little goatees finished off. Again, the goats are super simple. I will need a smaller dry brush for this though, if I can find one. There we go. It's a little bit too big to be honest, but we'll use this for the tiny little goats. So let's get the old focus back in. Oh, little goatee. And let's see if we can turn that exposure back down so you can see. There we are, a little bit more down. There we are. It's probably a little bit too dark now. But what we need to do is we just add that white onto our tissue. It's very, very tiny, so this what we're doing is we're just going over the miniature with the white. Let me see if I can get it into... God, it's tiny. So we're just very gently going over the highest areas of our brush, and that's just leaving the white on the highest areas, and you're getting a shadow with the skeleton bone. Those got on his little tail there, top of his head, and the top of his back. So we're just working on the top of the shoulders there. It's absolutely tiny, so this isn't easy, especially using this big brush. I should use a smaller one. Oops. So again, top of his bum there, the rump, just there, and just on the back of the neck, and the top of the head. And as you can see, what we've got the dark from the skeleton bone that's still showing through in the darkest recesses. So what we're trying to do is just make it ultra white in the highest areas, and because it's such a tiny little mini, you can't actually do that much to it. There we are. So we're just adding that white. We're not doing down the bottom of the legs, we'll keep that as it is, and we're just adding that white to the top. So you've got like a two-tone effect going. There we are. So we can move on to Mummy Goat now. And we'll go to Mummy Goat, so that might be able to see it a little bit better. So what we're doing is we're just getting that white on the top part of the miniature, and then going across and just going on the highest areas. Sorry, such a small miniature, I'm trying to keep it in camera for you, sorry. So we've got the white on the top, going over the top of the muscles there, so the light source is kind of going down, but you're getting that a nice white effect. There we are. And that's how simple it is. This is how simple I would paint these miniatures, just to get a two-tone effect. I shall add black for the hooves, of course, and the base will be painted in grey. But as long as you've got that, skeleton bone undercoat, and you add the solid white as a highlight, you're getting a nice little goatee effect. And we can do the same with Daddy Goat as well. So Daddy Goat, again, we're going on the top, just adding that white, going down his shoulder there, and down to the tummy, just moving down the tummy area, and on his back end, just there. And of course on the top of the head. And the rest is left as a shade. And the rest will be left as a shade. There we go. Just over the tops. Just making sure that he's got the white shining down. And I tell you so many times, I imagine there's a light source shining down directly on top of a miniature. So I imagine the bottom is dark, the top of the miniature is light, and that's how I work all my miniatures, making sure that the dark is at the bottom and the light at the top. And that's simple enough. What we can do with this one as well is the mane. We can add a little bit of brown to the mane, and of course his hoofs will be painted black as well. But also awesome little miniature. Yeah, absolutely gorgeous goats. Absolutely gorgeous goats. Like I say, we had goats in the farm, but I'm not going to mention at Muse's Touch. Not after our conversation earlier about milking the goat. Okay, what time are we on? Right, we've still got plenty of time. This is awesome. Okay, what I'm going to do then is we're going to go straight into the bridge. And we'll start getting the bridge all dry brushed and painted up as well. And while we're doing the bridge, I can paint the grey in these rocks. Oh, excuse my focus. Sorry guys, I have to move back out. And I need to put my exposure back up again. There we go. You can see me again. I know I just did. I apologise, Muse's Touch. Okay, so we've got our 3 little goats. We got our little troll. We still got lots of work to do on these little miniatures. I'm just trying to show you the basics of what I'm doing today, just to fly through everything and show you a rough idea of where we're going. Because what I'll do is next Monday, I'll continue with this bridge, and we'll start doing water effects, and we'll finish off that gaming board. And I think you'll be really, I think it'll make you want to have a go yourselves. And if that's the case, then that's awesome, because that's what my show is all about, getting you encouraged to have a go yourself. Okay, for the bridge, we are going to do exactly the same as we did with our dragon the other day. We're just going to add some stone grey, and we're going to build our way up with the stone grey along the bridge. Okay. I did have some. I need to just drink some Ribena because I'm sweating like a little piggy. No goats in Scotland? I was talking about my farm. Who are we talking to? To Cole there, I was talking about the farm I grew up on. I had goats. Oh, Renegade's driving so he can't type. Oh, shame. Does that mean it's going to be a quiet stream then? Okay, for our bridge, again, super simple. We're starting off, this is Stone Grey by MSP Paints, and we're going to put some more white onto our palette as well. Now my camera is playing all sorts of tricks on me today. It's either too bright or it's too dark, so I do apologize if it's annoying some of you. I don't mean it to. It's not easy to try and get the right lights when you got white and black. Is just a nightmare for any stream. Let me see if I can take this down again. There we are. That's a little bit better. Once I get some grey on this bridge, it'll all come to life anyway. Very moist in the shop. Long stripy scarf. Okay, this is a beautiful bridge. Again, everything I showed you tonight, apart from the trees, is from Reapermini's Bones 5 set, and this is the Bridge Trolls Toll. So what we're going to do is go straight in, and as you can see, the black is giving a great effect to the grey, and we're just going straight over the whole bridge. We can start speeding up a little bit. And we just add that to the bridge. Oops, excuse me. Again, going back into the grey. And we just go straight across all over, leaving that black pop through. Now when people say dry brushing, my brushes aren't exactly completely dry. I say dry brushing. What I do is I only take maybe half the paint off. When people say dry brushing, it means the paint is dry on your brush. You're actually leaving pigments onto the miniature. I'm actually going a bit higher up than that. My brush is still wet, but there's not enough paint on there to actually go into all the recesses of the miniature. So what's happening is I'm controlling the brush. Even though it's wet, I'm not pushing it down hard enough to make it go down into the recesses, but it's not a fully dry brush. So just bear that in mind if you try your dry brushing and it's not coming out the same as what I'm doing. My brush does have like a half load still on the brush. And that's also why I paint so fast, and I'm able to mix my paints on the actual miniatures because my brush is still moist, and that's why I'm famous for being moist. And that's where all the moist started from, wasn't it? We all have different techniques in painting, and everybody has a different style, and everybody has a style which they feel comfortable with. My style may not suit many people, but for me it gets the job done, and I can get it done in a way that I feel that that miniature is looking very, very nice for the finished product. So what I'm doing there, I've got that grey, I'm going to just add some white to that grey now. So we've got a mixture of half and half, and then we can start going back over the bridge, and now we're going a little bit lighter, but what's happening is it's highlighting all the edging of the bridge. And now I've gone to the stage where I'm only going one way of the brush. When I put the first initial grey on, I was going back and forth. Now I'm only going one way. I'm pulling down with the brush. So again, we're keeping the dark at the bottom and we're making it light at the top. So we're going one way. Keep on going down with the brush. And we can do the same in the middle, a little bit lighter, a bit more white there, a bit more grey. Just added a little bit of skeleton bone in it as well, as it's the centre of the... so what we'll do is we'll work in the middle, and just lighten it up in the middle. We want to keep it darker. Thank you for following. We want to keep it darker in the outside of the bridge. So what we're trying to do is just work our way to the outer edges of the bridge and let it go darker towards the edges. So we've got like a worn area maybe in the middle where people are kind of walking across this part of the bridge. So we want it a little bit lighter in the middle. It's like a little worn pathway. And of course we can start pulling down on the sides here, make that light. And the same on this side. And as you can see, just 5 minutes and the bridge is already looking amazing. Now goblins, what do you think I'm going to add to the bridge to finish it off? Guess what colour? You all know. Hello Jaws that is, oh I can't even say it. Draw X, how do you say you draw Xer and forgive me if I'm saying your name wrong, but thank you so much for following. Moss green, well done Michelle. moss green, but I can't find it now. There it is. Moss green. Yeah, so I do like to add a little bit of a very, very dark green to my stonework. Who said moist green? Bold GM. Oh, you've come to the right place then if you want to watch get your Reaper miniatures painted, that's for sure. So I'm very happy when people join and want to see what I'm doing with the miniatures. Alright, let me just change my brush. It's so easy. It's so easy to get a huge collection of Reaper miniatures. I mean, I know Nath and myself, Nath in chat and myself, we have got the Kickstarters from the very first Bones Kickstarter. Nath has probably been collecting Reaper miniatures longer than I have, but we both still got miniatures that need painting from our very first Kickstarters. So so yeah, there's nothing new. I think everybody in chat has probably got hundreds of unpainted Bones miniatures. It's kind of a thing, you know. And this is why I always say I paint my miniatures to a tabletop standard and try to show everybody else that you know, you can get your miniatures done quite fast and to a very good acceptable tabletop standard just by, you know, doing a bit of speed painting like I'm doing. And I'm hoping that it gives everybody a little bit of inspiration for their miniatures. I mean, I know I'm not doing it to a showcase standard, but when you have thousands of miniatures, it's impossible to do that. You want all your armies and your dragons and everything painted, but you also want them nice enough that you can play with them and be proud of what you've done. So hopefully this little Twitch channel will show you that. So what I'm doing now, because I'm chatting away, is I'm going to all the recesses into the deepest corners of the bridge. I'm only going into the corners around the bottom, and everybody knows I love doing this. It just adds so much flavour. It's just gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. Just adds extra goodness to the mini. I'm actually going to go a bit brighter. I'm going to mix in some cat's eye green. There we go, just a little bit more darker now. There we go, that's a bit better. I'm just going around the bottoms. We're just adding that paint to the bottom of the miniature. Just taking it up the stone a little bit. It just gives a lovely worn effect. If you look at any old pictures on Google of rivers and bridges, you'll see all this green mould around the bottom of the bridges, and that's the best way as well to learn when you're painting like fantasy buildings, is if you go to Google and you look at old Tudor houses and the old inns and old London, you'll see all the stuff you need to. Okay, so we're just adding a bit more green. Going around the edges a bit more. A little bit up there maybe. There we are. But as you can see, a very simple, very fast and easy way to paint your bridge. So a recap on the bridge is I used Dragon Black from MSP. Then I've used some Stone Grey by MSP, and I've just dry brush that onto the whole of the bridge nice and evenly. Then we've gone on to adding some white into that stone grey and just carried on over the bridge, and then we've gone and used some turf green by MSP and just gone around the edges of the miniature. And that's a very, very simple, fast paint on how to do your little bridge. Okay, let me put my lids back on. Yes, I thought it was time to say goodnight to everybody now. I thought it was time to say goodnight. So what I'll do before I leave, I shall get my gaming board back so you can actually see where we are going with the gaming board, and then you'll get an idea for this Monday coming. What I'll do is I'll add all the, so 1 second. So this is what we was working on tonight for anybody who's just joined the show. Right, I might have to turn that glare down again. 1 second, everybody. Let me just turn that horrible exposure down. There you go. Go away, you bits and bobs. So what we've done is we've used XPS foam. So we got our bridge. That's going to be like so. we've got a little part in the river here. This will be both glued down. We'll have a tree on this raised area here. We'll have a tree on this raised area here. We'll have the little baby troll in here, and we'll have all reeds and stuff going around there. Excuse me. And we'll add some more extra bits here and there. Oh, and we've also got a couple of tree stumps, so I'll just add one there. I think maybe one's enough. And of course we'll have our trolls, and we can use them then as our gaming boards. We've also got our little guy to paint up as well. So we've got the little man with his little goats going across the bridge. And like I told you before, Tal was in a game with me quite a few years ago, and we had this exact scenario where we had the goats going across the bridge, and that was an awesome game. So as you can see, what I'll be doing is I'll be adding some sand to the base of where the riverbed's going to. You did tell, it's awesome, eh? And we'll add flocking and everything else. But what I'll do is by the time Monday comes, I'll have this all glued down. I'll add all the sand for the texture all over. But what we can do is we can finish off the miniatures, and I can show you how to paint the little guy here, and just get it finished, totally finished. I can show you how we add the water effects to the actual gaming board. Thank you for following. I can show you how we add the water effects, and the water effects I use is the Vallejo water texture. So we'll be adding a few rocks and stuff, and I'll be showing you how I seal the board so you can actually add that water to build up your layers. Now the water texture works well with the XPS. I've tried it before, I've had no problems with leaking, as long as it's sealed down properly. But that's what we'll have a little go at next Monday. Welcome goblins to 1 hour of miniature goodness, and we are back after a 2-week break from Twitch. It feels like it's been years, but we're back. And today I'm carrying on with my gaming board for the Bridge Trolls Toll. So we're going to move on with that. Can everybody check that the sound is okay? Seeing that we've had a break, I just want to make sure everybody is still hearing me okay, because you know technical things happen over a couple of weeks away and everything breaks. Hello Tal, hello Michelle. Hi Rod, Scorpla's in the house. Now it is ReaperCon at the minute. A few of my goblins are at ReaperCon, so they're probably having an absolute blast and a wonderful time. Bull GM, hello. So it might be a little bit quieter tonight because of course the ReaperCon is on, but I'm hoping there's a few of you here, which there is, which is absolutely awesome. I wasn't expecting many people because of ReaperCon, but you're here, so that's awesome. Right, so let's make a start. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to make some reeds and stuff, because we'll move on to the board. But I want to show you what I did with this troll. Remember the little swimming troll? It's not finished yet. It's not finished. But what it was, I cut away the base. He had a little water base going around him. So if you can see there, I've trimmed off all around the bottom of the base. It makes him fit much better under the bridge. So what I've done, I've just removed that one little base going around, and all I did for that was I used snips and went around with the snips, and then just went on an angle. So we kept a little 45-degree angle at the bottom there, so when it's flat on a flat surface, it actually works very well. It looks like it's actually. Thank you for the donation. It actually works very well on a flat surface. Okay, it feels really quiet. Have I got my sound on or anything? I can't hear any noises or nothing. Let me just. I'm scared to touch anything, because you know what electronics are like when you do things. There we are. There, I got a bit more sound now. Hello, Crypt Monkey Studios and Dawn. And towel again, did I say towel? Okay, let's move on. What we got here is, I've shown this before on a few videos, but I want to show you for this one because I think it's a really great idea. Now, I think one of my patrons actually gave me this idea on how to make the reed beds. He was making some flowers, so I kind of didn't steal the idea. I borrowed the idea off him, and I'm sure he doesn't mind. And that is, I'll show you when we get to that stage, but we'll do this bit first. I'll get to the exciting bit later. Now, this is fibre. These are fibre strands. You can get these from model shops, and any good model shop or hobby shops. And all we do is we take some of the fibre strands out like so. Let me see if I can get some focus so you can actually see what I'm doing today. There we go. It's all little detail work today, but once you see what I get up to, you'll understand where I'm going. So all we do is we need some super glue. I'm using some liquid super glue. And what we're going to do for these is, I'm only going to show you one, and because I've already pre-prepared, so we don't have to be doing this all night long. We're just twisting that round like so, and then all we do is we add some super glue without sticking your fingers together. Just let the super glue sink in around that, and that'll hold that all in place. And you just let that dry. So you put that to the side. We'll put this like so. So we'll put this over here. Now I've already got some pre-done. So what happens then? The super glue dries like so. And all we do then is we have a nice sharp craft knife, and we just cut down the middle of these like so. So what you're left with is a nice looking plant or reeds for your riverbeds. Now all you need to do then is we'll stick them into the riverbed with some glue. But we're going to go one step further. Let me just zoom out a little bit and get some more focus. There you go. So once you've got lots of these made, what I've done, as you can see, I've already made a little bucket full of them, and we're going to stick them to the base in a minute. So what I'll do is I'll just quickly chop these ones up to add as well. So like I say, we just cut these in half. It can be quite tough because it is super glue. I'll chop my fingers off. There you go. Last one. There you go. Put these in my little box. Okay, for the next part of our little reed beds, I'll put that over there. You will need some black metal wire. Now this is again from jewellery makers. As you all know, I pinch all my stuff from Claire's little jewellery box, but you can get these again from the hobby shops. You can get these from craft shops, and it's a very, very thin wire. So all we're doing with this thin wire is we are cutting it to size, just a few pieces like this, about 1.5 inches. And this is just to give, you know, like around the ponds, you get these reeds. So what you do, you'll have this part here. You'll have this part here like so, and this piece here, this little piece of metal, this will be stuck in the middle. But what we're going to do is we're going to add a top to that, and then that'll look like the reeds, like around the ponds you see. So to add the top of the reed, thank you for subscribing. We need some PVA glue. So we got just ordinary Craft World PVA glue, and we got some very fine sand. Very fine. This is Scottish sand, very, very fine. Now all we do, let me show this. Like I say, it's very delicate work today to try and show you. It's all close-up stuff. So we got the little end like so, and we're going to go in about 5 millimeters on the end there into the glue. So we've got the glue on the end, and we just dip that into the sand. And we can just touch that up with our thumb a little bit, or our finger. Just push it in, and we just let that dry. We just let this dry on the end like so, and that's all we need to do. And once that's dry, I give that a brown ink wash. So I'm going to put this over here, and I'm going to do my Blue Peter special and show you some I made earlier. Okay, so moving on, these are what we made earlier, and I've given these a little brown ink wash. I'll just take that bit off there, a little hair stuck to it. So that's our little reed. If we just see if we can focus on that a little bit more. So as you can see, once we've got our little plant, we've made our little bed for the reed. And now what we can do, we can just put that in the middle, and what we'll do is we'll stick these first to the base, and then we'll stick these inside here with a bit of super glue, and push that in like so. So what will happen is you'll have that lovely bit in the middle, and there we've got our perfect little reed bed for our little river. So moving on. There's method in the madness, believe me. I know it looks crazy to begin with, but when you get to the final finished product, it's like, oh, that works. But I have to thank one of my patrons for that. I think it was Nath, actually. I think it was Nath was making some flowers, or saw some little flowers. So what I've done, I've taken on the idea and just made the reed beds. So it's definitely one of my patrons I saw had the idea of dipping these little wires in the sand. Okay, let's move back out. Okay, right, now I want to show you my grass mixture, because we need to make some grass with the base as well. So I'm going to show you what I use to do all my base in. So here's the big secret. You've probably seen this before, but I'm going to show you again so you know my special chef's mix. The special chef's mix on how to make your basin ultimate. There we go. So there we are. What we got here is we got green stuff. This is Green Stuff World. This is natural leaf litter, and it comes in little tubs. So all I do is I just add a couple of handfuls to my little pot, my little mixing pot. I'll give that a good old mix in there. Now there's also, you can make your own leaves, which is great fun. Now when I walk my dog, especially in autumn time when all the leaves are coming off the trees, which won't be long now, is you can save all your leaves when you go for your dog walks, or if you're walking without a dog, doesn't matter. You can pick up all the dry leaves, take them home, put them in a press, put them in between books. Hello, Dave. Put them in between books, and you can use this cutter, and it'll cut all the leaves into little baby leaves for all your miniatures. Now you can get these again. These are from Green Stuff World as well, and all that does, it's absolutely fantastic. And I've had thousands of different types of leaves, and it's well worth the money if you got the time to make all your own little leaves. So as for the grass, we've got our leaves there. Now we've got some nice medium grass. Now this grass is, I don't like super bright green grass, so what I'd like is some browns, some dark greens, a little bit of light green in there. So once again, what I do, I just mix that into my other tub here. So I just start adding that nice good, it's like a 75% grass and 25% leaves. So we just add that to our little pot. And we can just give that a good old mix in the pot, and that gives us a really nice foliage for our bases. It gives a really, it doesn't look too samey. You've got nice lots of leaves in there mixed in, and it just works really well, especially with the trees I'm using, because my trees haven't got any leaves on, so it actually works like autumn effect. Okay, so there we are. That's what you're looking for. You got a nice mixture of leaves and grass, and we can use PVA glue to glue that to our base. Okay, so now we can get to our actual base. So I will get the base out, and we can start working on our base again. Let me just some drinking. Oregano. Okay, let me just get this out of the way, make some room. It feels like I've been away for years. My goodness me. Oh, excuse me. Okay, let's get the board up. Get the little goatees out of the way. Okay, so the base is coming on very nicely. As you can see, I've done a lot of work just by making the colours. I've added some... Hello, Polymorph! So, remember what I said about the troll under the bridge? It had that oval around the troll, and I cut it off. Now it actually fits a lot better in my diorama here. So actually, thank you for subscribing, Carlos. So it works a lot better having it like so. And of course our troll will be there, our little goats. I mean, this is an absolute fantastic little set. Reaper should be releasing these sets in the future. Now, for the actual riverbed, what I've done there, I have used greens, and I actually used a green grey. So I used green grey for the middle, and then I added a little bit of black to the green grey just to give some depth in the middle of the water there. And then I've gone from lighter greens to darker greens, going around the edges of the base. And then on the sides here, what we've done, I've added some... not that one, I added some Agrax Earthshade. Agrax Earthshade went all along the sides just here. Thank you for following. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to start sticking these bits that I've just made up on our... Have we just been raided by something? Have I missed something? I've totally lost the plot tonight. You can tell I've been away for a couple of weeks. Okay, so also we've got our little troll's nest. Now, like I say, it's not finished at the minute, but I've just done a basic paint on the eggs, and that's going to go in here. So let me see if I can get some more focus again, so you can actually see how the trolls coming along. There we are, a little bit more. There. Okie dokie. Right, need some more room. Now, the idea now is we're going to start dry brushing the tops of the brown just to bring out some colours. So what I'm going to use for that is I'm going to use Cat's Eye Green, and I'm going to use Wilderness Green by MSP Paints. I just need to make some room. I haven't got much room tonight. I'm all over the shop. 1 second. This is the thing about doing these shows, and you do large miniatures. I haven't got much room. 1 second. There we go. There we go. I'm in control again. There we are. There we go. Get the old paint mixer going. I wonder how everybody is getting on at the Reapercon at the minute. Because I know Gareth, Star Wars Man, is up there. And he was with Reaper John. And that was absolutely awesome to see Reaper John. Did you know Reaper John has got my stickers on his laptop? How amazing is that? Reaper John has got the Goblins of Mordor stickers on his laptop. I was like, wow. Yes, I use the Turtle Guild. I paint a lot. I do a lot of painting. But the reason why I bought the scientific mixer is for my old Games Workshop paints. These I still use these old 90s or late 80s 90s Games Workshop paints like Goblin Green, and this machine actually mixes them perfectly. So if you are an old school painter or an old school collector of paints like I am, having one of those paint mixers is an absolute blast. You'll it's necessary. It is necessary. Like I say, it is quite expensive. I think this paint mixer cost me £100. £100 on Amazon. In dollars, you were talking in dollars. That's about $140 in the UK. So yeah, it's not a cheap hobby to buy one. But if you are serious in the future about painting, I highly recommend getting yourself one of those. Really good stuff. Okay, now for my dry brushing, I need to get some tissue. Now the board is in the way today, so I am going to have to try and sneak my way around. I'm like a little sneaky worm today, squirming around my workshop trying to find room for you all to see what I'm doing. So what we're going to do is get that tissue over there, go back a little bit. Thank you for the cheers. And we're going to start with a dark green. Just put that onto the tissue and take it off. It won't make much difference to begin with, but we'll just start adding that on top of the brown. I don't know how well you'll see that on the screen there, but it's just a light covering going up to the edge of the brown. These gaming boards, they're just so much fun to make. Now if you are new to painting, or you haven't tried making your own dioramas or your own miniatures like I'm doing here, you should have a go. If you just save all the polystyrene and bits from the house, you'll be amazed what you can make out of stuff from what you got laying around the house. I mean, my partner does get a bit tired of me saving cardboard boxes and bits because they start to pile up, you know. But what I'm going to do tonight, I'm just going to try and work on this front bit so you can actually see what's happening. I'll do the back bit after this show. It's just so we can actually show you a little bit of what's going on. Thank you for following. But like I say, as you can see, I had to remove the bottom part of the troll. Now if you've all got this kit, you all know it came with an oval base. Now there's nothing wrong with the oval base, it was a nice little sculpt, but for what I wanted, I mean, now I can have this little troll and it can go anywhere it wants. It can go right under the bridge. It was a little bit tight with the oval base, so all I've done is remove that and it works really well. Okay, I'm just going to start adding a lighter green to my dark green, taking off the paint again, and we're just going to start lightening up a little bit of the tops of the earth here. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, LTS Entertainment. I'm trying to do streams that everybody can do from a beginner upwards. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. I only go up to a tabletop standard in my painting anyway. But what I'm trying to do is introduce people into the hobby and just show the love of the Reaper miniatures that we all collect, and they're playing Dungeons and Dragons. I'm just trying to show how quick and simple and fun it is to be in this hobby, and that's all I want to do. And if I can inspire people and give you inspiration for your own miniatures, I mean, my job's done. Tal, what rank comes under beginner? Tal, well, you haven't hit beginner yet, have you? By the way, Tal is definitely one of my bestest of friends. We play Dungeons and Dragons together, and he is also a writer of Dungeons and Dragons modules, scenarios, campaigns. He's an absolute amazing guy and super clever. He's just been in one of the local. He's just been in the Kickstarter by Modular Realms, and that is really cool as well. He deserves all the attention, because I can't spell my name when I'm drunk, let alone write a campaign. But this guy can, and he is very special and amazing. Okay, so I've got a little bit of green on there. Now, I don't know if the colour's coming through that you can see it okay. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding flocking anyway. The reason why I've added the green on there is just to help with that flocking when I add the flocking to the top of the base here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start adding those reed beds, because if I add the water effects now, it'll be impossible for me to add those reeds afterwards. Excuse me. So if I find my little reeds, what we're going to do, see, I got one of these little hairs up my nose now. Oh, I'm having a show tonight. I'm trying to stop myself from coughing. I'm trying to stop myself from picking my nose because I got a hair stuck up there. Oh, have you got level 2 hype train? Woo! Okay, so what we're going to do, these are our little reeds here. So what I need, this is going to be removable. So what I want to do is work my reeds around that as well. But what we'll do is we'll start along here so you can get an idea of what's going on. Now this can be quite tricky. What we do is we add a little bit of super glue to the bottom, and depending how well I made that cut, what we've got to do is try and make them stand up. Now just let the glue set. That's fine, that'll be fine just there. Let's see if we're going to move in a little bit more so you can see what I'm up to. Get some focus. There we are, that's a little bit better. So the idea is we have all these little reeds, and they'll be kind of going up on top of here like a little island, and then we'll have all the reeds where the green's hitting the water there. What we're going to do is we shall have these stuck in the water like so, and they'll all go around the green areas. What happens then is once I've got everything stuck into place where I want them on my river, we shall tape off this bottom bit just here. This will be taped off, and then what I do is I add 1 millimeter of water texture by Veleco, and that'll cover that 1 millimeter at a time. I'll let that dry, and then once that's dry after about 48 hours, I'll add another millimeter of water and another millimeter of water. So it's about 3 millimeters thick. You don't need a lot because I'm keeping it flat. And because I've put these dark areas in the middle, that gives you the false sense of depth. So you've got depth depth to your river. Okie dokie. So what we're doing is we're just carrying on and we're sticking these little pieces on. So just bear with me. It's not a super fast show tonight. Normally I'll be speed painting miniatures, but tonight I'm just enjoying myself sticking little bits to this model here. And once they're all dry, what I'll do is I'll stick those little reeds that we made inside the middle. I mean, this is just a fantastic way to add some really nice realistic effects to your miniatures, and you can use these on your normal little bases as well. The hardest part is making them stick and staying upright. Once the glue is set, you're laughing, but it's just that initial holding them down, making the glue stick. Yeah, don't swear, Mikey. Don't swear. You can do this. You can stick that up there. I'll stick it somewhere, you bastard. La 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 la. Little. I'm glad this is an adult-rated show, because sometimes it can bring out the best in you making models when you're trying to stick stuff. So you're going to stay there. Fine, I'll come back to you, and when I've closed the show, I'm going to burn you. I am going to burn you. Okay, so we'll start. What it is, you've got to have a nice flat bottom. And see if you see at the bottom there, if you have it as flat as if you have it as flat as possible, you got more chance of it sticking. It does take a lot of patience, but believe me, it is worth it. I don't know if you've all seen my Baba Yaga's house that I did, you'll see that I used these type of reeds on that as well. There you are. See, that one stuck instantly. It's just depends on the reed. Like I say, it does take a patience and quite a long time to get these done. I'll stick another one up here. Another one just here. It's like the island in the middle of the river, the split of the island. Let's see if we can move this around a little bit. I'll take you off. Oh, you're stuck now, have you? There you go. Okay, let me just try and get a bit more room. I'm just trying to get different angles so you can actually see what I'm up to. So we're just moving along the side of the riverbed, and we're just adding these in little places. I'm just taking off the excess, because sometimes you get some loose fibres, so we just pull the loose fibres away, and then we just add that super glue, a little blob at the bottom there. That's all you need, and then we just plonk that in. Now if you've got a little stick or something, that does help. Or there we are, you can use the side of the banks as a little support to help. But as you can see, I've got lots of these to add, so both sides. Thank you for subscribing, Mokai. Both sides will be, and I'll see you in Conan. Both sides will have these reeds all the way across. I'm going to let these dry a little bit more, and then we'll add those little reed stalks that I made. And I'm only going to do so many tonight to show you just roughly how we get on. So again, we're going to move a little bit on top of the bank, but we're only keeping all the reeds close to the bank. We don't go any further inland. We try to keep them near the water's edge because that's how they would be in real life. So if you can imagine when this water is, or when I've added that water effect as well, and you have all these little reeds going through, it's going to give a really beautiful effect. Okay, I'll add one more of these reeds, and then we'll move on to something else. Otherwise you won't actually see much else tonight. So I'll just find another reed. What I'm trying to do today is just show you all the simple little things you can add to your bases. And remember, these are all perfectly suitable for all your games as well. So if you are, for your Reaper bases, oh, that one's not sticking. Oh, yeah. Put you. Nope, you're not sticking, you're good over there. Okay, I'm going on to something else. Right, let me just find my lid. Put the lid back on the super glue, and I'll move this background. But as you can see, that looks fab already. It's already starting to come alive, you know. A little troll going through the water, and we haven't even added the water effects yet. Okay, so what we need to do now is those little reeds that I made earlier. So we'll grab a couple of these. Now we don't have to add these to all the reeds, we only add it to 1 or 2, and that's our little metal pole. So it's a little metal wire with sand on the top, and all I've done is I have coated that in an Agrax Earthshade. Now to make this stick, I'm not going to actually use super glue. I am going to dip this into my PVA glue for now. So we're going back to the PVA glue, just a tiny little bit at the bottom here, and we'll take that off, and what we're going to do is we're going to just add this to the center of one of these, and that glue will keep it there, and there you go. So what we got there is a beautiful looking reed, and that PVA glue will dry crystal clear. And of course what we can do, we can add this to like 1 or 2. You don't want to overdo it. If you are a fisherman like me, or like Rod in chat there, you'll see these around the lakes, and you'll see all these lovely leaves, but you'll only see 1 or 2, maybe 3 or 4 of these actual tops, as I call it. I don't know what the correct word for them. So what we'll do, we'll add another one over here. If that's glue, is that dry? That's dry, yeah. So we'll just add that to the middle, and we'll push that in. Oh, there you go. There you go. Oh, oh. And that will dry and set in the middle of that reed bed, and it actually works a treat. So that's as simple as it is to make some beautiful looking reeds. I mean, this looks like, I want to go fly fishing here. You can actually imagine just casting a fly line just under that bridge there, and letting it float down. Absolutely amazing stuff. Okay, so as you can see, just by adding those few little extras to this, it's already starting to take shape and really starting to look nice. So what we're going to do now is we have got some Army Painter little yellow flowers. Now these are all pre-bought from Army Painter. All you do is you cut them to size. They're little yellow sponges, and they look like little flowers. Now if you are a fisherman, or if you like walking around rivers, you'll notice that most rivers have these little yellow flowers dotted around the shoreline. So what we're going to do is we shall add a few of these little flowers. So all I'm going to do, if I can, yes, that would be all. Yes, I'm going to do that. I'll add that. I'll definitely add that. A little no fishing sign will be just fantastic, eh? So all I'm doing with this is I'm just pulling these off, off the sides. And what we'll do is, it has got a bit of stickiness there, but I like to be safe than sorry, and I shall get my PVA glue. PVA glue is fantastic stuff because it dries totally clear. So what we can do, we can just add these parts wherever we want. So I'm just working on this one bank, and if you can imagine, I'll do the other bank the same. So we just add a few bits of PVA glue here and there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a little bit just at the bottom, maybe one or two little yellow pieces here and there. Maybe one there, and one just close up to that one there. So I'll give my brush a wash. This is an old brush, by the way. I'm not using it for painting anymore. It's got to the end of its use, and now it's used for modelling. Okay, so what we're going to do now is start taking off these little pieces here, and we can start sticking them onto the base here. Just little varied places, positions. There we are. And just a little piece like this, we just rip it in half. And we'll stick one piece there. Now I've got some tweezers. Tweezers do help if you're doing this type of stuff. So you can pick up your tweezers and just push them into place. Use your finger and then use the tweezers to push the actual flowers into a shape you like. Same on this bit here. And one more piece here. Oh. My Ribena nearly went all over the floor. I better drink a little bit more. Is that the Goblin King with a pair of shades on? It looks like it, doesn't it? Okay, so we're just adding some more of this beautiful yellow flowers, and we'll just add that there. Now, oh, 1 second, it's stuck to my tweezers now. There we go. We'll just plonk that there. Oh, go on. Gotta be careful because I've got everything else. I don't want to hit everything else while I'm working on these parts. Now, like I say, the PVA glue does dry totally clear. So what we're going to do now, that part is fine. Now I will be doing this on both sides of the banks, but I'm just showing you one side really today, just to show you what I'm up to and how this is coming along. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start adding, this is Jarvis Countryside Scenics. Now you can make your own little bushes and stuff with sponges. I actually dye old sponges. If you've got old sponges in the kitchen, keep the sponges. Older the sponge, the better. Because what you can do is you just let them dry out, and then you can actually rip them sponges into tiny little pieces. The more perforated sponge, the better. Because what you can do then is you can dye those sponges with the ink, and once you've dyed the sponges, you can actually use them, and they make very nice bushes for your miniatures. Okay, so now we've got this stuff here, So this is again a case of you just rip it apart and take off what you need. So once again I shall use my brush and start adding glue around the parts of the miniature I want these to be added. So what we're going to do now is, you can see the lip of this tree here. We can cover any parts that we don't want to be seen, so we can just start adding some little areas around there. And this is a great way to bulk up the miniature and cover anything unsightly that you don't really want shown. So we can do along the top of the bridge here. We can have a little bush there, just covering that little gap there. And we can move it along to the end of the bush. End of the bush, end of the bridge. I can't speak. And in the corner just here, it's nice to have some bushes up against walls. It just bulks them up. It gives a little bit more eye-catching. Okay, so that's simple enough. Give them a brush a wash. If you are using PVA glue and brushes, make sure you wash your brush instantly after you've used it in PVA glue. Wash your brushes in water straight afterwards. Otherwise, your brush will stick together and be ruined. Okay, so what we do now, again, moving back to this beautiful looking parts of, we just take little pieces off, and all we're going to do is start adding these around parts of the miniature. Placement is the key with miniatures. You can't just dump everything everywhere. There's kind of a rhythm to the way nature works, so you got to try and I like to look at Google when I do my brickwork. You know, like my bridges, everybody knows about my green. You know, I like to look at old buildings, see where the moss is growing, see where things would be in real nature, not just on a model, because sometimes you can dump everything onto a model and it'll just be too much, a little bit too much, in the wrong place, should I say. It's like my flocking I'll be adding in a minute. The leaves in the flocking will only be added around the areas where there's trees. They won't be added to the rest of the miniature, so it's just where the kind of it's come off the tree and it's just laying on the floor. We'll just add a little bit more there, and a little bit more just on there, a bit more just there. And if it gets a bit tricky, this is when the old tweezers come in handy. You can just use the tweezers and plonk them in. Okay, so that's our little area here. Now all we need to do, so we've got the riverbed, we've got this area, and you can imagine the rest of the board will be done in the same style. So now we move on to our grass. So we've got our lovely grass, and this is the final part for tonight, where I just show you where I'm going to add the grass. And again, we go back into this glue. And it seems quite odd that I've done all this work and now I'm going to cover it in glue and grass. But what we do is we just, again, move the glue all around. And this time I'm going tight up to the tree. And this is where the grass will go and those leaves. And then we can just push them out a little bit. And we'll just take it to there. Let's see if we can turn this around a little bit. Let me see what I'm doing. Put this out of the way. Rod. Moist bush. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to add a bit more glue here. So we're just building up the areas where we want to add our flock in, and here, and just here. Like I say, this is the flocking with the leaves. The rest of the area I will use the flocking, but we'll take those leaves, we'll use one without the leaves. So all we're doing is we're just adding the flocking here. Now there is a special way to do the flocking, which I'm going to show you now. A lot of people make the mistake, and that is they add the flocking and then they take it off instantly. What you need to do is leave the flocking on, let the PVA glue soak into the actual flocking. I think that's about right. That should do it. A little bit more there, a tiny bit just there. There we go. Wash my brush. Hello, Shank. Okay, so all we do now is we get our flock in here. Now I'm going to make a mess now because it's the last part. It doesn't matter because I can leave this overnight. But I just want to show you this. So all we're doing is we just put this on here like so. We're just sprinkling it on and we're leaving it there. We're not going to remove that. That's going to stay there. What will happen is all that PVA glue, that'll start soaking in. That'll soak in to the mixture I've just made. And that'll give a nice thick look to the flocking. It won't look all thin. It won't look all thin. Okay, and it gives a very, very nice effect. Now if you are into model trains, this is a very good way to do your flocking for your model trains as well, if you like to make those type of things. Okay, so well, let's move down a bit more now. Okay, so that's our corner coming on very, very nicely now. Now what will happen is that will dry. I will take off some of the excess, but what I do then is I have this stuff here. This is scenic cement. Now you can make your own scenic cement. All it is a 50-50 mix of PVA glue and water, and you really give it a good old shake. And if you've got a hairspray bottle or a perfume bottle, if your girlfriend's got a spare perfume bottle, you can fill up one of those little bottles with the sprays, and all you do is you spray on the 50-50 mix of PVA glue and water, and that will bond every single thing that I've just added here, and it won't come away from the base. Okay, so that's roughly what I've done so far. We can't do anything else in this corner now. So I am actually going to wrap it up there for tonight, because we're nearly on the hour. and I wanted to get back into the show. It's been 2 weeks since I have been on my game, should I say it. I hope you're enjoying my little shows. Now I am doing daily YouTube videos of all the Bones 5 Kickstarter miniatures, and I hope you're all enjoying that. I am doing my Twitch show every Monday now and every Thursday, and both shows will be for Reaper Miniatures for the foreseeable future, because I have so much of the Reaper stuff to get through, and because I got so many awesome things like this to do. I want to make the dioramas, gaming boards of all the, there we are. I want to make gaming boards of all the dioramas that they made from the Bones 5. So there's lots to look, lots to see. So I want to say lots of love to every single one of you. If you are at ReaperCon, have a fantastic time, and I shall talk to you when you're back. Claire will be doing the giveaway for you in Discord. So I'm sure she'll do the Wheel of Pain and see whoever has won. But I shall see you all on Twitter, and love to all my patrons, and have a beautiful evening, and I shall see you on Monday.